Hey folks, I am running a little test on one of my computers right now to see whether or not using a webcam, a borrowed webcam, I should point out, is sufficiently good to run a live stream. Now, the things I have to figure out is how to use this and be able to get a view of my screen at the same time. Normally, I use software such as StreamYard to be able to stream and get a picture from the camera, but also to be able to take a look at the tab that I'm working on or on my IDE that might be in some other window. There are a couple of things I could do, but again, this is just a test setup. With me right now, and you're watching this. Thanks. I didn't expect anybody to be here. I don't expect anyone to be watching this. Now, let me say a couple of things about this channel. It has been, as the folks in Hollywood would say, on hiatus for a while. As a matter of fact, the community that runs the channel, or the community that's associated with the channel, the Meteor New York meetup, which used to be the Apollo Meteor NYC meetup, which was before that the Meteor-NY meetup. So it's a lot of changes that have gone on over the years. Would run events once a month, typically at Priceline over the last few years that we were able to run these up to and then finishing off around, well, I would say just before COVID started. And I, I was the lead organizer at the time. And when COVID hit, we just went silent. It has been a while and a long time coming to come back. We have done a couple of other events online since. We have not done so consistently. And part of the issue has been, what are we going to do going forward? Meteor has sort of had its heyday, but we still think it's a relevant and useful technology. And there are people that are interested in using it. There are people that are using it that are interested in finding out more what's going on with recent iterations of it. So I'll be honest with you, I've been sitting on this for a while. And now I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be coming back on, I want to say, on a regular schedule. I'd like to get on here and do some live coding with Meteor. As far as the live in-person sessions that we typically had in New York City, I would love to have those again. And so if we're able to do them quarterly to get started and kick it off, just so that we have a way of making it happen, I'd be happy to do so. If you know anyone who has a venue that we could reach out to and talk to about putting together an event, that'd be great. One of the other things that we used to do is we used to get our sponsors, whether it was a space sponsor or some other sponsor, to provide refreshments for the event. We don't have those relationships anymore. And it takes time to rebuild those relationships. So if you know anyone who would be willing to provide some light refreshments for the event, that would also help in trying to bring them back together. I have not been to any live events in Manhattan. I used to go to many, many developer events in Manhattan, meetups, before COVID. And once COVID hit, and since, my energy has not been there. I would like to change that because I feel like I'm not mixing and engaging with people in live settings. And I miss that energy. I really do. I really do. I don't know how to get back into it. I guess maybe just get back out there. But being able to go back out and encounter the groups of people I'd seen in the past, I don't know if they still exist. I mean, I'm sure they live and exist in a sense, but I know many of the folks that I enjoyed spending time with left New York City during COVID. And so some of my colleagues that I would see in Manhattan that I'd get together with and so on, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna have those. Um, my network is has been really dispersed. So that is my personal challenge that I'm dealing with. I'm struggling with it. I really am. I've been struggling so much that it's taken me until now to stick a webcam on my laptop, sit down, and say something. Now, I know this is just a test of whether or not I can stream from the YouTube app, which is something that I wanted to try. I wanted to see what the limits are. I mentioned before I use another piece of software called StreamYard that allows me to do a lot of other things. I can try to hook this up to my A10 Mini Pro and see whether or not I can bring in the different resources. So you could see it directly as I am speaking and as I'm streaming. I'm not quite sure what the quality of the video is that is getting to YouTube and how YouTube is encoding it. So this is supposed to be a 1080p camera. Have no idea if that's the way it's going to come through. I have another camera, a DSLR, that I could hook into this, but the stream rate is 720p, so there's going to be a little bit of a knockdown. However, that is a professional camera with a professional lens. The resolution is better. This is a webcam, fixed, tiny lens. So I don't know. I don't know. There are a lot of things I'm trying to figure out here. With this little session, you can also tell that I'm not a naturally gifted speaker in terms of engaging with the camera. I find this to be very artificial. Most of you, if you are coming back to this channel and have been to the New York City Meteor meetups, know that in person, I can be pretty gregarious, I can be pretty friendly, but others of you also know that I'm a pretty shy person. So doing this is not natural for me. I don't typically get up and do presentations. I'm trying to change that because necessity, but also I do want to see this community come back again. One of the most beautiful things about the New York City Meteor meetup was just how friendly it was and just how engaging it was and just how creative a space it was for engineers, business people, dreamers that would come together and take this tool that allows you to build applications quickly without having to have a really deep knowledge of databases, DevOps, even having a truly deep knowledge of JavaScript. Although I will say that's where you start. You can start with something shallow, but then you have to build out your skills. But it allowed people that didn't have deep skills to come in and still be able to create useful, effective, and in many ways, very engaging applications. And that's still my belief about the value of Meteor to the developer community today. So if you're watching this, if you have watched this, if you're watching me streaming, making a fool of myself on this camera, hey, I'm back. I have another channel that we do a weekly podcast on Meteor on. It's called MeteorJS Community, and I think that there might be a link in here to that community. So every Friday, I do a podcast with Jan Kuster and Jan Dvorak. So we're in 2 different continents, 3 different countries, streaming live and talking about Meteor and recent Meteor developments. But we also talk about open source and things that affect you as a developer in terms of your own personal growth. So, all right, I've talked a lot. I've said a lot. And I'm worried that I have some croissant in my teeth because I've been nibbling on a croissant and having some tea just before I got on here. All right. Again, this was just a test. I know the lighting is probably off. Um, again is, I've said it 100 times. I'm not going to say it anymore. Okay, so if you'd like to see more work come out of this channel related to Meteor, related to JavaScript, related to developer growth, let me know and we'll bring the channel back. Otherwise, I think what we're going to do is we may just shut it down at some point. And if you would like to see more in-person live events happening again, let me know that too in the comments. And I would love to get some help in New York if you're here. My partners that used to help out with this are in Connecticut. They are at a different stage in their lives now where coming back into New York City and helping out is not something that they're open to doing. I have another partner that is actually here in Queens. I'm in Queens, in New York City. But his life has taken a change in terms of family obligations and so on. And so I don't think he has the availability anymore to do this. So my other partners have gone to the West Coast, have gone on to different states. A couple of them have left the country. So the folks that I used to do this with aren't available, and I need a second person to work with in order to make this work out well, doing the live events. And with that, if you are interested and would like to try your hand at it, you don't have to make a hard commitment. You can make a soft commitment and say, let me see how it works. Let me see how it is. Let's see whether or not I can work with a limb. By the way, I'm a limb Gafar. Then give it a try. And if not, okay. But yeah, let me know. All right, guys. I'm going to cut this short now because I have nothing else to say. And other than this is just a test. And I'm just testing this software out. So I'm just using the native webcam driven YouTube UI in order to do this live stream. So let's see what happens now. All right. Ciao. I gotta get a button.